coming in loud and clear. Might hear me on the radio. Breaker, breaker, 19. Anybody got their ears on?
Hey guys, it's Eric, owner of Farpoint Farms here in the mountains, North Carolina. Tonight, one of the last Radio Shack radios that I can remember having any interest in back in the day, and a very rare one right now. This is the Radio Shack TRC 442, the sports radio. Radio Shack made two models of sports radios. They made a handheld walkie-talkie. Here's a picture of it right here. And they made this. And the big deal with these was they were waterproof, or at least highly water resistant. And they didn't sell well. They cost a considerable amount more than a standard radio at that time. And as you can see, they don't really have a ton of features. There's no light meter here. There's no light LED meter here. There's just a channel selector and a TX button, so a transmit button. But what it does have is a custom microphone. Here's a close-up of the front of the microphone, as well as the side and the rear. It is a one-of-a-kind. It only came with this radio, and it has a waterproof push-to-talk button, which is quite unusual, right? The whole radio is waterproof to some extent. I mean, nothing is 100% waterproof, but it's like my Panasonic Toughbook. It's been ruggedized. And so here's a picture of it up close on the front. Here is the bottom, and you can see the waterproof speaker enclosure there. And here's the back, and take a look at the heat sinks on this. Very unusual, isn't it? And that's because this is a sealed case. This case doesn't have any airflow, so it has to have a way for that heat to get transmitted out of it. So they put these big heat sinks on there. Pretty cool. And of course the power cord is wrapped in a waterproof housing as well. And then here's the side, and yeah, that's it. Now this unit here is pretty well worn, sun damaged. So it's more of almost like a greenish brown. It almost looks a little army green to me. Of course, I'm somewhat blind as well as mostly deaf, but you can see bits of it. Here's the gray. You can see that it originally was. It was a light gray. And I'm sure you could retro bright this or bring it back from the dead in some other way, but I'm actually going to leave it just like it is because this is going. And why did I buy this? So these are hard to find. I put them into a YouTube search at any one given time, and usually there's none available. So there's a way on eBay. There's a way on eBay to enter in a search for an item and then save it, and so you get like emails when one of these things finally comes available. This one here, maybe 3 or 4 times a year, you'll see one of these come up on eBay because, again, they weren't very popular to begin with. They aren't highly desirable. But if you happen to have an application where you want to have this thing outside, you kind of need to have a waterproof radio. And as far as I know, this was the only one made by any company. I don't believe there's some walkie-talkies that are water resistant, but as far as base or mobile installs, this is it. So it does become kind of desirable for that reason. And I am going to be installing it in a situation where it's going to get wet and get wet often. So I wanted to make sure that when I put a radio, that it was one of these. And so I've kept my eye out for it. This one popped up, and man, I snapped it up because the last one had a relatively low starting price on it. I bid on it, and it went for way more than what I want to play for a radio, you know, when it's just something like this to play with. This one here I paid $24.99, so that wasn't bad price. Usually they go for $40 to $50, so I think I got a pretty good deal on it, and it works. I'm gonna turn it on right now. I'm not gonna key down. I'll plug it into the antenna, but just to show you, it works, right? And the channel selector, I'll turn that down. The channel selector works fine. The LED is working. There's no dead spots in the LED, so that's really cool. And the microphone came with it. Seems to be working well. So overall, pretty good. Again, the only features and functions it has: on/off / volume, squelch, and channel select. Not a lot going on. The microphone, very basic microphone with a push to talk, and it's covered in a rubbery feeling there. It's waterproofed. So very cool. I don't think Skip's rolling, but if you want to give me a second, I'll plug it in here. I unplugged the Antron from the RCI, and I'll plug this thing in, and let's give it a shot. Actually, I am hearing a really faint voice. It's worth a shot. Brake channel for a radio check. Brake channel for a radio check. Man, Try that again. He heard me. I didn't really hear him. Brake channel for a Radio Shack. Got a brand new TRC 442 I'm trying out. Brake channel for a radio check on 19. Yeah, very hard to hear him over the noise floor on this thing, but there was somebody out there. Even the Super Bowl is dead today. And this is mid-afternoon on a Sunday, so usually the Super Bowl's hopping if there's any skip at all. So let's just talk about this. I guess we won't be transmitting or receiving on it today, but we will be at some point. Why did I buy this thing? And like I said, I bought it because I want to use it outdoors. The actual installation on this is going on the MUTT. If you've seen my videos last winter on the creation of my multi-use tactical tractor, which I used to use as an ATV here on the property. Mower Junkie, who has a great page that's mostly dedicated to mowers and CBs, he put a CB on top of one of his old tractors and did some range tests with his wife, and it kind of got me interested in the idea that, wow, you could do that. I mean, it's a 12-volt system. I don't see why not. Certainly would not be something that would be very easy to use while the vehicle is running, but parked, with an antenna, I see no reason why it, as any other vehicle, couldn't be used for that. And so I would like to do some camping this coming summer. Obviously, it's a long ways off right now, but I talked about doing it last year and it just never panned out. But I'd like to take the old multi-use tractor there and take it out into the woods, maybe do a little bit of solo camping. And I could do some range tests with this thing and be able to keep in touch. Now, I mounted a Radio Shack, I think it's a 3-foot, might be a 4, just like a fiberglass antenna that I had laying around for many years. It used to be on a van I had. And so I mounted that on there, ran the wiring up to it, but I've been waiting patiently for close to a year now to find a waterproof radio because I wanted to put something on there that I could leave on. I didn't want to have to worry about taking it on, taking it off, because that mower, that tractor sits outside most of its life. It just lives outdoors, and a lot of times when I'm using it for farm work, it's pouring rain outside because it rains a lot here in the mountains. So I wanted something like this, and I found it, and I thought I'd share it with y'all because it's likely that you will never see another video on the TRC 442, and it's likely you'll never come across one of these in the wild. I bet you sales-wise, maybe less than 20,000 of these were ever sold. It wasn't a big moment in time in CB radio as far as hobbies are concerned. It wasn't a particularly spectacular radio, and it didn't really have a lot of features and functions, but boy, they sure were proud of it even back in the day. That's it. It's kind of a short video, but I wanted to take a moment to share it with you because of how rare it was. I'm Eric, the owner of Farpoint Farms. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, perhaps you'll think about liking and subscribing. I'll see you next time. Take care.